Hello everybody, Andy here again. Well, I've titled this one Regrets because I did a video the other day called Your Dream Job. I did actually say in that that I might expand on that particular subject, and that's what this video is about regrets that you might have had with your life. As I asked in that video what you wanted to do with your life, what your sort of ambitions were in your life, and maybe whether you actually achieved those, and that's what this video is about as a sort of follow-up and expansion, as I said. So are you happy with the way that your life has turned out? Did you actually achieve what you set out to achieve? And if you didn't, do you have any sort of real regrets about doing that? Are you happy with the way that your life turned out, even if you didn't do what you wanted to? Because we all, as I said before with the dream job theme, we all have ambitions that we want to do, or a lot of people do. I know some people are possibly less ambitious than others, and there's nothing wrong with that. But did you actually get there? So when you look back, inevitably, as you do, as you get older, you have more time to look back. Obviously, you think about all these things and you start going over things that you did with your life. And I've actually watched a couple of videos on YouTube recently that have been on this sort of type of subject, and I was going to cover it anyway, but it's got me thinking about that type of thing anyway. So if you're a younger viewer, because there will be a lot of people out there possibly watching this who are maybe still at school or are still in their early 20s or something, and maybe haven't really got to that stage where they're really sort of setting out in life really and sort of making decisions that they can't really go back on, this may still be as valuable to you as it might be to somebody else who's maybe a bit older and looking back and maybe can answer the questions that I'm sort of posing in this. So with my life, did I achieve my ambitions, and what sort of achievements have I actually done? Because that's another point. You might not think that you've done a great deal with your life, but if you actually look at it and sort of summarise it, I suppose, and go into it in some depth, you might have done more than you've actually realised. And when you get to the end of your life, you might be able to look back and say, well, actually I did this and I did that, and you can tick a few boxes. For example, if you had children and you've raised children, you might think that's a fairly run-of-the-mill thing, but it takes a lot to raise children. I know I've been there and been a partner of someone who's done it as well. We've obviously done it together. 2 children, fine, and we think we've done pretty well. And if you've done that's good. You've done something very, very worthwhile. So a lot of people think, well, I've done sort of nothing with my life, but you're probably wrong. Actually, you've probably done more than you actually realise, but you've still got time possibly to change your views as well, and your ambitions, to maybe realise them, to sort of step aside maybe and go out to university or courses or something that you can do to actually improve yourself. And you don't even have to do that. You can just sort of say, right, I'm going to start reading more, I'm going to start reading certain magazines or watching better TV programs or even better videos on YouTube, and actually expand my horizons in that way. And you never know where that might lead. But looking back on my life, I look back, get a bit personal I suppose, is what sort of achievements have I done? I'm quite proud of some of the things that I've done in my life that I've done that a lot of other people possibly haven't. That sounds a bit egotistical, and it's not meant to be like that at all. But as I probably said before, years ago I used to play the drums in bands and things like that, and we had very, very small scale success, sort of a local thing. But anybody who's been on the stage and had sort of 100 or whatever it is people, and that's not a lot, but it's a significant number for what I'm talking about. If you're up there and everyone's sort of, you've got a loyal following of people come to see all your sort of gigs, and they know your songs because we used to play all our own material, but most certainly a vast majority of it was our own material, and you've got people up there who are singing along to your songs and thoroughly enjoying it. That is a great feeling, and a lot of people don't get to have that sort of feeling. Watch videos of sort of big bands, and people say, oh God, how the hell can they go up on that stage and do that? And my answer to that, well, if you can't be up there in front of 50,000 people and not be enjoying yourself, then you must have something wrong with you, I think. And so to be up on that stage and have people sort of singing along to your songs is a great feeling. So that's one thing I have done, I suppose. As I mentioned before, I do a bit of DJing, not on a regular basis, but that's something else that I always wanted to do. In years gone by, I used to sort of, not say fantasise, but I've always been a big fan of music and used to think, oh, I'd love to be able to do that and play this song and that sort of song, and talk as well. Like with this, I quite like doing this type of thing and talking and expressing my opinions as well. And I've been lucky enough to realise that ambition as well, I suppose. Also, I was lucky before I I got married and sort of settled down, I did a reasonable amount of travelling, well, certainly more than some people have done. Not that I know lots of people have done a great deal more, and I was lucky enough to go to sort of quite a lot of Europe and Egypt a couple of times, and I've been to India and Sri Lanka and that, and that's good. I'd love to do more. As I've always said to people, is that there aren't many places that I wouldn't go to, I don't think. Something I've always wanted to do is do some more travelling. Now I'm getting older, the kids are sort of getting off your hands a little bit. Maybe that's something for the future. So one place I've always wanted to go to and never have, although I've been to Florida and New Orleans and places like that on the sort of eastern side of the USA, I've always had a fascination with the western side of the USA, sort of the Grand Canyon's one of those places, and then Yosemite and all that sort of area, and the sort of wild areas that you've got around there, and mention Yellowstone, all those sort of places. So I'm absolutely fascinated with that sort of area, and maybe one day I shall get there, but you never know. But so that's something that I'd love to do in the future, is maybe do something like that. But apart from that, really, I was just having a look down at a list I made. I don't think there's a great deal more that I would really like to do. I do enjoy this, and one of the things I was thinking of myself is that YouTube is a bit of a snapshot of what the world is, really, with people's sort of ambitions and things like that. A lot of people are coming on here hopefully to better themselves as well. They're putting themselves up in the shop window, and I suppose I'm doing that as well. I've got into this, I enjoy doing this, and you never know, maybe one day someone might say, oh yeah, I like that, maybe you can do this for me. And we've got people on here who are already doing that, haven't we? Being sort of snapped up to do different things. So you never know with that, but from the youngster's point of view, if you have got a dream, follow it. At least try to. Not everyone will achieve their dream. Some people have to be realistic with this, I think. Sometimes a lot of us have ambitions, but, and this does sound like saying that, you do have to have a certain amount of talent for it, and there are always limitations. There is a lot of luck involved with these things. Most people will know if they've actually got the talent involved. They only got to compare themselves to other people, and even if you don't think you have got talent, keep going, keep trying at it. You know, don't let anyone put you down. I'm not trying to put anyone down, but just be realistic. That's one thing. I've watched plenty of talent shows, as I'm sure you have, and you've thought, what on earth are they doing? And let's be fair, there are videos on YouTube, and you watch YouTube and you think, now why on earth has that person got X amount of subscribers? Why are they sort of in the top so-and-so of subscribers? Why do their videos get regular viewings of thousands? And you watch other people and you think, well, they're just as good, if not better, and they get no views at all. You know, we all get a bit frustrated at that, I suppose, and to be perfectly honest, I'm as bad as anyone else in that respect. I suppose you sometimes make a video and you think, God, I nailed that one, if you know what I mean, and that was really good. I'm really pleased with that video, and it doesn't get quite the response that you'd like it to, but that's the way it goes, isn't it? That's just life. As I said, there is a certain amount of luck in all of these things. But anyway, if you're out there, if you've got an ambition, it's never too late to start trying to achieve that ambition. And if you're young, don't let people put you off. Keep trying, but be realistic, be prepared for knocks, but also take advice from people as well. Don't be afraid to take advice, even if people don't like what you're doing. Some of the things that they may say, you get hater comments on here. Then some of them might have an element in there that you can take away and say, well, actually, yeah, I'll see where they're coming from. Just because they don't like what you're doing doesn't mean that what you're doing is wrong. I watch some people on this site, as I'm sure a lot of people do, who I don't necessarily agree with their views. I don't necessarily like their videos particularly, but they've got a good viewpoint, and not one that I like myself, but I can see where they're coming from, and it's always good to look at things from different angles. But anyway, regrets, have you got any? I'd like to be very interested to know what you've done with your life, whether you've done with your life what you actually set out to do, and even if you didn't, are you happy with the outcome? Ultimately, I suppose, what can we do about it? This is where we are, but you do have to put a bit of effort into these things. Put yourself out there, have a go. If you don't have a go, you never know what might happen, do you? You'll always regret not having a go, and that's one of the worst things, to think, well, I could have done that, but I just never got around to it. So have a go at it. I'll be interested to know what anyone else says. I hope I haven't rambled on for too long. So if you've got any regrets, please let me know. If you're happy with your life and you've achieved your ambitions, brilliant. I'm very glad for you. And anybody out there, whatever your life's turned out like, I hope you're happy with the way that it has turned out. Anyway, that's enough from me for now. I'll see you again soon. Goodbye.